Hello friends, good morning. I am Himangi Jagtap from Swam Learning Point and I welcome to you all. Today we are going to learn a beautiful poem and the name of the poem is Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. The theme of the poem is that a traveler on horseback stopped by a little forest on a winter evening. The little forest, in the speaker's own words, was lovely, dark, and deep. Though he was greatly fascinated by the scene, and the call of duty urged him to move on, he reminds himself that he must discharge his duties before it is too late. So, this nice poem written by Robert Lee Frost. His lifespan was 1874 to 1963. He was an American poet. He is highly regarded for his realistic depictions of rural life and his command of American colloquial speech. He is one of the most popular and critically respected American poets of the 20th century. He received our Pulitzer Prizes for poetry. In this poem, the poet describes a little incident happening in a snowy evening. As a traveler, the poet is fascinated by the beautiful scene in the woods, and so he stops to enjoy, but his mind urges to him to go on. Many of his poems were set against the backdrop of American, especially New England, rural life. His close observation of the rural life enabled him to evaluate even the ordinary things to a philosophical level. So, this poem describes a single instance that happening during a winter evening. सो स्टुडंट्स, रॉबर्ट ली फ्रॉस्ट हे प्रसिद्ध अमेरिकन कवी आहेत. ग्रामीण जीवनाचं वास्तववादी चित्रण करणे आणि अमेरिकनांच्या दैनंदिन जीवनात वापरल्या जाणाऱ्या भाषेचा आपल्या लेखनात वापर करण्यासाठी ते प्रामुख्याने ओळखले जातात. कवितेच्या क्षेत्रात दिलेल्या योगदानामुळे त्यांना 4 वेळा पुलित्झर या पुरस्काराने गौरवण्यात आलेले आहे. कवितांमध्ये प्रतिमा आणि प्रतीकांचा कल्पक वापर हे त्यांच्या काव्यलेखनाचं वैशिष्ट्य आहे. So he has won 4 Pulitzer Prizes for poetry and he is known for the use of imaginary and symbolism in his poem. The poem Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening is about an experience in the poet's life on a snowy evening. So it is a simple poem that has deep symbolism and has been interpreted in a various ways. So now we are going to start a nice poem and we see here the first stanza. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though he will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. One snowy evening, the poet passes by a lovely, dark, and deep wood beside a frozen lake. Away from civilization, he knows the owner of the woods who lives in a village. The poet thinks that since the owner will not see him, he could rest there to see the beauty of woods while they fill up with snow. एका बर्फाच्छादित संध्याकाळचा आपला अनुभव कवीने या कवितेमध्ये सांगितलेला आहे. अत्यंत साधी आणि सोपी वाटणारी ही कविता या प्रतीकांच्या आधारे गहन अर्थ स्पष्ट करते. मीन्स इट्स अ डीप मिनिंग आणि हा अर्थ विविध मार्गांनी मांडला पण जातो. सो मिनिंग ऑफ द फर्स्ट स्टांजा इज एका बर्फाच्छादित संध्याकाळी मानवी वस्तीपासून दूर गोठलेल्या तळ्याच्या शेजारी असलेल्या सुंदर, गडद आणि घनदाट अशा जंगलातून कवी मार्गक्रमण करत असतो. आणि या जंगलाचा मालक गावात राहत असतो असं लेखक त्याला ओळखत असतो, कवी त्याला ओळखत असतो. जंगलाच्या मालकाच्या दृष्टीस पडेपर्यंत या बर्फाने आच्छादलेल्या, बर्फाने व्यापलेल्या या जंगलाच्या सौंदर्याचा आस्वाद घेत विश्रांती घेता येईल का असा विचार कवी इथे करत असतो. सो whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village though. He will not see me stopping here to watch these woods fill up with snow. Beautiful meaning of these 4 lines. So students, now the next stanza. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near. Between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. When the poet halts here, the horse finds it strange that his master has stopped in the middle of the woods on the darkest evening where there is no farmhouse to rest. कवी जेव्हा विचार करत असतो तेव्हा आपला मालक हा काळोख्या संध्याकाळी जंगलाच्या मध्यभागी शेतघर नसतानाही थांबला आहे हे पाहून त्याचा जो घोडा आहे त्या घोड्याला सुद्धा काय होतं, आश्चर्य वाटतं. सो हार्नेस बेल्स टाईड टू द नेक ऑफ अ हॉर्स टू कंट्रोल इट. अँड क्वीर मीन्स इट्स अ स्ट्रेंज सिच्युएशन. क्वीर मीन्स स्ट्रेंज. So the meaning of these 4 lines is, I explain you, when the poet halts here there, the horse finds it strange because his master has stopped in the middle of the woods on the darkest evening where there is no farmhouse to rest. इथे कुठेही फार्म हाऊस नाही आहे, विश्रांती घ्यायला नाही आहे आणि असं ह्या जंगलाच्या मध्यभागी आपला मालक थांबलेला आहे हे पाहून त्याच्या घोड्याला सुद्धा काय झालंय, आश्चर्य वाटलेलं आहे. सो द स्पीकर ऑफ द पोएम थिंक्स दॅट ही नोज हुज वूड्स आर दोज वेअर ही स्टॉप. द वन हू ओन्स द वूड्स लिव्स इन द विलेज. So he will not see the speaker stopping there to watch the woods fill up with snow. According to the speaker of the poem, his little horse must think it is strange. Which thing is strange? To stop at a place between a frozen lake and the wood where there is not even a farmhouse, and it was the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bell a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flag. So, the meaning of downy flag means soft feather like snowflakes falling. मऊ पिसांसारखी हिम पडणे. And harness bell means bells tied to the neck of a horse to control it. घोड्याला गाडीला बांधून ठेवण्यासाठी असणारे 2 लगाम. So here he shakes his neck to rattle his harness bell and makes a gesture to his master to move on. The poet says that it is a very quiet and the only sound that can be heard is that of the soft wind and the falling snow. त्या घोड्याला आश्चर्य वाटल्यानंतर त्याने आपली मान हलवून आणि गळ्यात बांधलेला घंटा वाजवून तो आपल्या मालकाला तिथून निघण्याला सूचित करत असतो. आणि त्या घनदाट जंगलामध्ये अतिशय शांतता आहे. केवळ हळुवार वाहणाऱ्या वाऱ्याचा आवाज आणि पडणारं हिम यांचा आवाज ऐकू येत आहे. The little horse gives a shake to the bells attached to his neck as if to ask whether there was any mistake. The only sound heard other than of the bells were the sound of the mild wind and the falling of the soft and fluffy snowflakes. Fluffy means a downy. So now the situation here described, and the last stanza is, the woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Wow, it's a great meaning of these four lines. The woods are lovely, dark, and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. The speaker was really captivated by the lovely, dark, and deep woods, but he reminds himself that he cannot stay on because he has promises to keep. He is supposed to discharge his duties on time. And there are a lot many things to do before he goes. Means to sleep. He goes to sleep either before the retires for the day or in a wider context where before the final end comes. So here the poet described the woods as lovely, dark, deep. He mentions that he cannot stay there for a long because he has many more miles to go. कवीने वर्णन केल्याप्रमाणे ते जंगल अतिशय गडद घनदाट आहे आणि कवीने हेही सांगितले आहे की त्या ठिकाणी ते फार वेळ थांबू शकणार नाही कारण विश्रांती घेण्यापूर्वी त्याला अनेक मैल वाटचाल करायची आहे आणि खूप साऱ्या लोकांना प्रॉमिस केलेलं आहे एवढी सगळी कामं त्याला पूर्ण करायची आहे. सो इट्स अ लिरिक पोएम and here describes the journey by the woods is a symbolic of a poet's life. As he passes through life, he seeks to rest and experience everlasting peace in his old age. He is attached with the idea but has many duties and responsibilities to fulfill before he can die. Thus, the poet cannot rest and has to continue on his journey. जंगलातील प्रवास कवीच्या आयुष्याला प्रतिकात्मक असाही आहे. आयुष्यामधून वाटचाल करताना त्याला विश्रांती घेण्याची इच्छा होते आणि तो ह्या वार्धक्याच्या कालावधीतही चिरकाल अशा शांततेचा अनुभव घेऊ इच्छितो. ही कल्पना त्याला मोहित करत असते. मात्र मरण्यापूर्वी त्याला अनेक अशी कर्तव्य पार पाडायची आहे, जबाबदाऱ्या पूर्ण करायच्या आहे. कवीला हे चांगलंच माहिती आहे की तो विश्रांती घेऊ शकत नाही आणि त्याला त्याच्या आयुष्याची वाटचाल ही सुरूच ठेवावी लागणार आहे. So here the poet wants to stop near the woods because he wants to see the lovely, dark and deep woods as they get covered entirely by the falling snow. The traveler has to leave the lovely woods because of the following reason, because of the given reasons. What is the reason given here? He has promises to fulfill. He has many miles to travel to reach his destination. He can rest only after he has reached his destination. And the horse finds it strange that his master has halted at a lovely place without any harmless nearby on the darkest evening. He thinks it is a mistake and so shake his harness bell to show his confusion. So the last two lines repeated here because these lines gives emphasis to the poet's disappointment that he can't wait to watch the snowfall. It highlights a deeper meaning, the poet's journey, which symbolizes life while sleep symbolizes death. So here the poet described a deep meaning of this poem, and the traveler was really captivated by the lovely woods and he is supposed to discharge his duties on time. Both things are described here. He promises himself to keep his word, so he has to leave the lovely woods to keep his word. So, in this way, we learn the meaning of the poem Stopping by Woods with a Snowy Evening. And the special features of this poem is this is a lyric of extraordinary beauty. A lyric is a fairly short poem expressing the personal mood, feeling, or contemplation of a single speaker. Here, the traveler on a horseback. Though lyric may be composed on almost all subjects, what makes the stand out are the emotional depth and a song like quality. In this poem, we experiences both these qualities. So these are the special features of this poem. And students, I like this poem for its simplicity. Even the message at the end is a very simple. So you read this poem and find the meaning of difficult words and write down the central idea of this poem. So thank you students. Bye bye.